Good morning. I don't have any students in the room right now, but we're going to go ahead and record this, and we're going to go through some notes real quick. So let's actually start with today's morning slides. So you should be copying the person of the day information into your notebook. The person of the day will be the last person or the last slide of the presentation for that morning. So the good news I got from yesterday was today is Kelsey's birthday. Amanda gets to see her dad. Kaden got to distribute food to the homeless. Aviana went fishing and she actually caught some. Gavin went to the beach. Journey's mom's birthday was Monday, so happy birthday to her. Aiden went swimming and tubing at Lake Jordan, and Emma is going to be going to Hilton Head. So if you want your good news added for tomorrow, you click on this link right here, and it'll bring up a form for you to fill out. All right, so jokes for today. I studied archaeology. Now my life is in ruins. Have you ever tried blindfolded archery? You don't know what you're missing. Different life stages of a coffee bean. Still green at it. Been there, done that. Has been. My cars must have all the latest technology, like electronic ignitions for starters. They left the bills, but took his coins. Why, Sarge? Just another senseless crime, Mulroney. All right, so our person of the day for today is Michelangelo. He was born March 6th in 1475 in Caprese, Italy. He died February 18th of 1564 in Rome, Italy. He was an Italian sculptor, painter, architect, and poet. A lot of influence on the development of Western art. His most well-known pieces of art are the Pieta, which is a statue of Mother Mary holding her son Jesus after he was crucified, the statue of David, and the Sistine Chapel ceiling. His quote is, "I saw the angel in the marble and carved until I set him free." All right, so we'll pop out of that one. And we will actually, here's yesterday's. Basically, it's the beginning is the same part. You need to copy the person of the day into your notebook. Fill out the good news form if you have anything. So the jokes from yesterday was school zone, watch out for children and moms too, who were probably a little happy to see kids go back to school. First back to school from different points of view. Grades 2 to 6, grades K to 1, 7 to 12, college students, and mamas. Welcome back to school, students. Oh, I forgot. They spent their entire summer texting. It takes a while to wean them off. We don't all follow you on Twitter, Kayla, so please just tell the class what you did during the summer, or Instagram. Yes, I see you carried the one, but this is social studies. All right, so my expectations are for you to be on time for virtual class, be prepared for class, be considerate and respectful, show respect for school property, meaning your Chromebook, and for other students. And then I expect you to turn your assignments in on time. All right, so let's go through some notes real quick. This is the 5 themes of geography. We're going to throw some map skills in it too. All right, so geography, excuse me, is a study of Earth's surface and the people, environments, and resources that shape it. It helps us to understand why the Earth looks the way it does, what causes it to change. It includes things like climate, pollution, things that man-made or that were naturally made, rivers, and even, things like that. All right, so the 5 themes. 5 themes. Location, place, human environment interaction, and movement and region. So location, where are we? Place, what's it like there? Interaction, human environment interaction is how do humans and the environment affect each other? What does man do to the environment to get it to adjust to for themselves? Movement is not how do humans and other humans interact. Well, it is how humans and other humans interact together. It's also why you push and pull factors. Why do you move to a place? Why do you leave a place? That kind of stuff. Region, what links where we are to the places around us. So we live in North Carolina. So what region of the United States do we live in? The South. And so the other states that are in the South is not just North Carolina. It is South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Florida, Tennessee, Virginia, places like that. All right, so some some more specific notes for location. You have two types of location: exact location or absolute location, and relative location. So absolute location is like a grid system. That's what you learn the latitude and the longitude for. So at 40 degrees north, 75 degrees west, we have Macungie, which I think is in Michigan. Not 100% sure. I have to look it up. All right, so lines of latitude will always go first, and they will either have an N or an S behind them. Longitude goes second, and it will have an E or a W behind it. Latitude can only go up to 90 degrees. So latitude is distance north or south from the equator. Longitude is distance east or west from the prime meridian. The most famous latitude and longitude lines are the equator and the prime meridian. The third line of excuse me, would be like the international date line. That is a line of longitude. And then you also have the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn, which are lines of latitude. So when we talk, we don't usually use absolute location in everyday conversation. It's not like you're gonna go, hey Bob, where are you at? Well, I'm at 40 degrees north, 75 degrees west. No, you're not gonna say that. You're gonna say, hey Bob, where are you? Oh, I'm in Aberdeen. I'm in Southern Pines. So we use a relative location when we talk. Relative location is not specific. It is the location in relation to some other place. So when somebody asks you where your school is, you say Southern Middle School, and they go, well, where's that? You go, it's behind PetSmart. All right, that way people get it. Other examples are, I'm near McDonald's, or I'm about 2 hours outside of Charlotte, or this is how we usually describe where we are in everyday conversation. All right. So place, what's it like there? It describes an area's physical and human features. Physical features are like landforms and climates. For example, the Rocky Mountains, the Appalachian Mountains, the Grand Canyon, a tropical climate. Human features are what people do to change the place. Like we build roads and we build buildings. All right, human environment interaction. How do humans and the environment affect each other? So we change the environment to adapt to the way we live. So over long periods of time, humans have really changed the way our planet looks and acts. So if you imagine way, way back when the Pilgrims and everybody first came over here, do you think there were skyscrapers on Manhattan Island? No, it was covered in trees. So we've cut down a lot of trees to build houses and make everyday supplies. So we kind of reduce the amount of oxygen in the air for us to breathe. That's why we have tree farms now. People replacing trees in order to, it's sustainable. They can harvest those trees later and make money off of it, but it helps replenish the oxygen. The environment also changes humans. Humans have to evolve through a long process of learning to adapt to the challenges of their environment. So if you look at the Sahara Desert, it is actually growing. It's called desertification. The desert is expanding. The sand is being blown further and further out from center. Movement. How do humans interact with other humans? So people move around the globe because resources are scattered unevenly, and people often go where it is easiest for them. So if you lived in a city where there's no jobs, but there's a city down the street a few miles that has jobs, you would move to that other city because you could get a job. So people migrate or move all around the globe to get closer to resources and share ideas. People trade with each other, countries import or bring in goods and export other goods. That means send them out. So if you lived in an area where there was a battle, a war, you might want to leave. That is called a push factor. Or if you couldn't grow food, or if there's a famine, you would want to leave. You pushing people out that way. Things that pull people in, good jobs, low crime rates, things like that. Region. The area where we are and the areas around us have similar physical characteristics, like climates and landforms. So we have drawn lines on maps and called different places by different names, but Earth don't know that. You're not going to go out there and, now I know if you go to Carowinds, you can, there's a line on the border there. Stand on that line, or you can straddle the line and be in two states, but that line doesn't actually physically exist if you dig up that concrete. All right, so Pennsylvania and New Jersey are not physically very different. They're still part of the same region, even though they have two different names. They have similar climates and similar types of land. All right, so let's talk about some maps and globes real quick. A globe is a scale model of Earth. It shows the actual shapes, sizes, and locations of all Earth's land masses and bodies of water. Now, which is easier to carry around, a map or a globe? If you said map, you're correct, because you can fold that up and stick it in your pocket. You can't exactly fold up a globe. All right, so let's understand globes. Now, you've already had this slide before. So if there's my mouse. So if you look, lines of latitude, they go this way. They circle the Earth. This one right here at 0 degrees is the equator. They measure distance north and south. All right. Lines of longitude are vertical lines. Here we have the prime meridian, which is 0 degrees. Whoops, let me go back. Accidentally clicked. And then on the back side of this at 180 degrees is the international date line. And it measures distance east and west. All right, that can get a little confusing. So lines of latitude are called parallels. Lines of longitude are called meridians. Together, they form a global grid. Every place on Earth has its own set of coordinates on the global grid. All right, so if we look at here, we have the equator runs right through here. It divides the Earth into north and south. All right, so above the equator is the northern hemisphere. Below the equator is the southern hemisphere. Hemi means what? Half. All right. Here we have the prime meridian, and it divides the Earth in half again, and we have the western and eastern hemispheres. So we live right here. This is called we live in two different hemispheres. I'm sorry. The northern hemisphere right here and the western hemisphere. So if we lived in Australia, which is right here, we would live in the southern and the eastern. Now in Africa, you could be in it's in all four hemispheres. It's in the western right here, this little bit over here. It's in the eastern, the majority of it. It's in the southern, and it's in the northern. All right, so there's how to use a map. So there's several clues to help you understand the information on a map. Maps provide different clues depending on their purpose or scale. So most maps have several things in common. How you can tell what a map is used for is generally by the title of the map. Now, the different parts we have is A locator globe shows where on the globe the area of the map is located. All right, so you see like there's a little outline around Spain here. That would be your locator. Then you have the compass rose. It shows you direction, north, south, east, and west. But it also has these other points. So this would be northeast, southeast, southwest, northwest. And then you can break it down even further. And it tells you, it's on the map so you know which way is actually north, because north is not always straight up. Okay? The map key tells you what the symbols mean that are on the map, or the colors. And a scale bar tells you the distance between 2 points. So 1 inch may equal 20 miles, or 1 inch may equal 100 miles. All right? It just helps you measure distance. So the two basic maps we're going to talk about is political and physical maps. Political map shows political borders, continents, and countries. So that's the one where you look at it and you see the border between North Carolina and South Carolina, between the United States and Mexico and Canada, or even Moore County and Lee County and the county surrounding it. Colors on the political maps don't have any special meanings. It just makes them easier to read. So if all the states in the South were in green and there was no lines drawn, it would be hard to tell where North Carolina and South Carolina's border was. But if North Carolina was red and South Carolina was green, you could see where the border was easier. Political maps also include symbols and labels for the capitals, cities, and towns. Capital city is normally a circle with a star in the middle. Cities and towns are dots, and the bigger the dot, the more people that live there. Physical maps represent what a region looks like by showing its major physical features like hills and plains, mountains, deserts. Physical maps also often show elevation, and elevation is the height of land above sea level, not above the ground, but above sea level. All right. So here we have a political map. You can see the border between the United States and Mexico, the United States and Canada. And you can see the borders between the states because it is a darker green. All right, a physical map over here shows we still have Canada and the United States and Mexico labeled, but you can tell this brown area, what do you think that is? It's mountains. Same over here, Appalachian Mountains. The blue lines are rivers, and then you have lakes, oceans. Dark green is like plains. So on which map would it be easier to find Los Angeles, California? If you said political map, you would be right because it lists the cities. So on which map would it be easier to find the highest peak in North America? Right, it would be on the physical map. All right, so if you have any questions, you can email me or come to a Google Meets or office hours. And I sent y'all the letters about the times and the codes to get into those. So the person of the day for yesterday was a guy named Leonardo da Vinci. He was born April 15th in 1452 in Italy. Can't pronounce the first word. May 2nd, 1519, he died in Amboise, France. He's known for his inventions, drawings, paintings, sculptures, architecture, science, music, mathematics, engineering, literature, anatomy, geology, astronomy, botany, paleontology, cartography. He is a Renaissance man. That's what a Renaissance man is. All right, so he's known for the Mona Lisa and the Last Supper. There's the most two well-known paintings. And his quote is, "Art is never finished, only abandoned." So if you have any questions, don't forget to ask me. All right, so I hope everybody has a good day. And I'll talk to y'all later.